Ooh, I'm an optical illusion. So today I don't have much time, but I do want to get a video out for you guys on my normal schedule. Today I want to talk about some of the steps, the 5 first steps that I took when I started my real recovery from anorexia. If you are following my journey and have watched my previous videos, you will know that I have struggled with an eating disorder since I was 10 years old, but I have been in recovery for a while now, and I can clearly remember the turning point to when I started my recovery properly. Of course, everybody's recovery is different, so not everything may ring true to you, but I'd really appreciate if you guys go in with an open mind. Anyways, before I get started, if you are new to this channel, hello, my name is Rebecca, and make sure you subscribe to my channel. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about are meal plans. Meal plans, oh my god, what a strong connection I have with that. The first big change that I made when I went into my proper recovery is that I had to forget my previous meal plan. Like, completely wipe it from my mind. In fact, I had to forget all meal plans from the past, all kind of knowledge that I thought I had about calories and portion sizes and food and measuring. Even if I thought that I was eating more than everyone else, or it was a lot of food, or if I knew that this was a good amount of food for my body and my height and it's going to keep my weight stable. And I kind of had to put myself in this mindset that I didn't know anything. Like, I was uneducated about food and calories and meal plans, even though I felt like I was the most knowledgeable person in the world. So that meant my idea of a high amount of calories were wrong. That meant my ideas on portion sizes were wrong. That meant my ideas on good and bad foods were wrong. Everything was just wrong, and I had to start from scratch. And like I said, even though what I thought I knew felt so correct and right, and what I was going to do in the future felt so uncomfortably wrong to some extent, I needed to do it. I needed to do this because I was completely honest with myself, and I let myself realize that what I was doing was not working for me. And I needed to try something else, something completely different. Not hanging on to anything, because I did that and also that didn't work. The second step that I took to further my recovery was, let's just say, I got loud. I used my voice. I talked before I thought. I definitely talk before I thank. I talked before I thought, but this was so important for me. Getting loud, using my voice, talking to other people, especially my support system, especially my mother, who is my biggest supporter, was so important to further my recovery. I am sure you guys can relate to this, but I have a million thoughts that circulate my mind all the time, and most of them, at the beginning of my recovery, most of them were eating disordered or food related, or just anxiety about life and if I'm going to be happy. And just all of these thoughts and anxieties would just circulate my mind, but I wouldn't ever express them to anybody. I kept them to myself because I was worried that if I expressed them, then somebody would force me to do something about it, and I'd have to actually change, and I'd have to actually challenge my eating disorder. Then I realized that, you know what, I take charge of my life. You know, I'm in charge of my life, and ultimately I make my decisions. It's down to me whether I make a change. I remember clearly one day when I first started my recovery, it was just going back and forth in my mind for ages, and suddenly I just blurted out to my mum while we were in Pret-a-Manger that I really wanted a muffin. I was terrified of baked goods and muffins and croissants and cakes, but I just said it. I just said that I wanted to have a muffin, and I was scared. And suddenly it clicked in me that I needed to challenge myself with this muffin. Of course, I got a lot of reinforcement from my mother, which I think is very important, especially for me, like to have like a number one supporter that can reinforce you and motivate you and support you whenever you need. I know that's sometimes really hard to come by, but for me, that's really something that helped me. Once I expressed what I was thinking, it really gave me the motivation to actually make movement. After I spoke about the muffin, it gave me the motivation to write down all my fear foods. And I was just like, Mum, we're doing one every single day. We are doing a fear food every single day. And I started off with the easier ones, the ones that I felt a little bit safer with, but I made sure that I wrote down ones that were absolutely terrifying, the ones that I didn't even think that I would be able to do, but I wrote it down just in case I was able to do it in the future. And of course I was able to do it. So for me, it was really important that I just spoke up. I spoke up about my behaviors. I spoke up about my hunger. I had to make sure that I said it so that I could make changes for myself. I could hear myself in the physical world and hear that everything inside my head just felt so much more scary than out in the world. It was so much more easy for me to make changes that way. Okay, so number 3. I had to change the dialogue with myself. I had to ask myself the question, am I eating enough? I changed up the very common question, am I eating too much? Or a very common question as well, what is the exact right amount that I need to eat? So both of those things I was extremely focused on. Am I eating too much? What's the exact amount to keep my weight maintained? Not go anything over the exact right amount, otherwise I will explode into oblivion. One massive step that I took that I'm very proud of is that I changed my focus from calories and getting the right amount or too little, basically always too little, to focusing on, do I have enough food here? Before I kind of moved away from calorie counting and measuring, I was very confused about what to do at this point, because I felt like if I didn't calorie count or if I didn't measure, then I just wouldn't really eat anything. I wouldn't eat enough because I didn't know what a good amount of food was for me. And that makes sense. If your whole world is focused around calories and measuring, how do you know what a good amount of food is? You know what? You do. I think you know how much food you want to eat. I definitely knew how much food I wanted to eat, and it was kind of just really going into that place. I actually really want to have a whole pizza, or I want to eat a burger with cheese, or I want to have a slice of cake. One thing that really helped me, which I actually learned from another recovery coach, another recovery influencer who you probably know, Tabitha Farrar. She said to visualize every meal and every snack as if you are sitting in a pub and you're eating a pub-sized meal. So yeah, I made sure all my meals and snacks were pub-sized. I know that this argument may come up, and I hear it a lot, and I definitely felt this way too. I felt like I was already at a higher weight, or I was healthy and I couldn't just go off and eat what my heart desired, even though I really wanted to. Like, I felt like, oh, I've gained too much weight already, I can't even afford to eat any more food. And all I have to really say to that is that I feel you, I totally understand. Also, the mental stuff is torture. The thoughts about food, the circular thoughts about food and being hungry and fantasizing about meals and snacks and cakes is torture. And that's not normal for a human being. We don't do that. Well, apparently we don't do that. My mum says that she doesn't. I think she's pretty normal. In the end, I just had to let myself realize that if I'm thinking and feeling this way, something is going on that's not right. Like, I'm in an energy deficit. I cannot spend another day living this way. I cannot spend another day wasting any more time. I've got to feel better. And like I said in my first point, letting go of all my preconceived knowledge, I had to let go of the idea that eating that amount of food was going to do damage to my body. Like, because in hindsight, looking back, I'm me, this is me right now, and I'm still okay. I'm still breathing, we're still doing good. So if you guys need any reassurance, I'm doing it right now and we're still good, we're still breathing. So please just give it a chance, please. Okay, I'm gonna hurry up now. Number 4. I had to stop thinking about time and how long I was going to be in recovery for, or how long I was going to be able to eat the way that I eat now. Like, I think about, oh, I can only eat this much for a certain amount, but then I'll have to start restricting again. And that kind of stopped me from even starting, because I was just too worried about when I was going to have to stop that I couldn't start. So scared to start eating food because I was scared to stop again. But the good news is that I actually didn't need to think about time at all. I have to be doing this for a very, very long time, years. It's been months now, and I thought that I'd only be able to do it for a week or 2 or 3, even 4. I thought I had to stop, but it's been months that I have to eat this way. I'm still okay, we're still good. Okay, and the last step that I can think of, the last mindset that I changed, was that I realized that I didn't need to figure everything out. When I started this recovery, I didn't 100% want to recover. I was still very worried about gaining weight and what my physical body would look like if I ate. I still had so many questions and anxieties about the future that I just couldn't answer, and I didn't know. I wasn't 100% sure that recovery was the way forward. Just because I went into recovery, my life would suddenly get a little bit better, I'd feel better, or things would start going my way. I wasn't 100% in the mindset that it was my eating disorder that was getting in the way of my success, and my career success, my social success, my relationships. Yeah, I just had to start. The one thing that got me to start was that I knew that what I was doing now was not working, and that I can always make changes again, but I have to just give this a shot. When I started my recovery, I didn't think I'd start a YouTube channel, and I didn't think I'd be a content creator or speak so openly about my recovery. But this is the door that my recovery has opened, and I couldn't predict that. And so who knows what's going to be on the cards for you. It might not be a YouTube channel, it might be something even better, or something better for you. You just have to give yourself the space to know what is there. Okay, so I'm done talking. Those are the 5 things that helped me start my recovery. I hope you enjoyed listening to this, and I hope some of this resonated with you. If it did, please make sure you write it in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your questions. And also, if you like this video, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. Yay! And of course, I'd appreciate a good old subscribe to my channel. I'm going off to enjoy my weekend now. Actually, I'm gonna go get lunch. So, bye. Bye!